Welcome to 45 on the Hour podcast. I'm your host, Colt 45, and I'm here with Professor Eric Medina of the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club.
What's up, Colt?
What's up, bro?
Colt of Service Master, Attention to Detail,
Whatever.
USMC.
Whatever
like
I do.
500 things in one.
So many damn things. Guys, this is a cool podcast today. Me and the professor here, we're talking about Stoicism. And we've been talking about it for a few weeks, kind of. A lot of people have been asking us, where are you guys getting your information from? You know, and we do follow people online that kind of follow the same model a little bit. But a lot of the information that we get is from Stoicism, right? And a lot of people don't know that. But I want to kind of go over an overview.
Yeah, let's talk about Stoicism. What is Stoicism?
Right. So Stoicism is a philosophy that was originated in Greece and Rome during the classical period. And it's known for the focus on ethics and personal development. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing is ethics and personal development. Things like, self-control, clear thinking, virtue, living in the present, dealing with adversity, focusing on yourself, and developing positive character traits. So we're going to break some of these things down, guys. And me and Eric have been talking for a long time about, mindset and stuff like that. And we thought this would be a good topic to kind of break down and kind of teach you where we get our information from. Because I think that if you know where to get it from, then you can help yourself anytime you want. What is that model? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing. So we're going to lead you guys to the water. So
yeah,
hopefully you guys want to drink it.
Straight to the source, ancient knowledge.
Correct.
So like we follow some people, like we follow Bedros Keuilian, we follow like Wes Watson, but they follow the Stoics.
Correct.
They follow Socrates, and they follow Epictetus, and these guys were like the real minds back then, the real philosophers, and the problems they dealt with hundreds of years ago, we deal with now.
Correct. Just in a different version.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because when I first started getting into this, I was looking for help for myself because in 2020, I had like major panic attacks, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I was going through a lot. Just too much stress. I was just dealing with being at home with kids and, just the stuff we deal with in life, as parents, as, husbands,
human beings,
wives and whatnot,
all of it.
It was a lot. And I remember getting to a place to where I couldn't control my brain. And I think that's what scared me the most is that I can deal with a lot of pain. I can deal with a lot of, whatever it is I can deal with, like with my physical body. But when it came to my brain, I couldn't control that anymore. It became like something that was serious.
Yeah.
And then when I started having these negative thoughts and these suicidal thoughts and stuff, I was like, what is going on here? I remember thinking that, like, I didn't know at the time, I didn't know the tools and I didn't have the habits or the traits to kind of get me out of that like I do now. But at the time I was like really scared, And I remember being so scared of my own self.
Your program is taking over. You have like a virus in your mind.
Right. And what it was leading for is I was letting my thoughts control themselves. I wasn't controlling my thoughts. I wasn't thinking about what I thought about. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just saying, I was poisoning my brain by allowing my thoughts to kind of go straight to the negative, which is a normal human being trait. We're programmed to let ourselves go to the negative. And the negative is the devil. We've talked about this before. When, positive thinking is, all, godlike. That's like spiritual, like higher being.
High frequency too.
Correct. Yeah. Right. And so that kind of leads back to, so what I did was after I started, having these feelings, as a parent, checking out is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's unacceptable for anyone anyways, but as a parent, you're not allowed to check out alive. Okay. It's unacceptable. Okay. Once you have kids, your job is to live for them. So that's what I did. I said, I can't figure out what's going on with me, but I'm going to wake up every morning. I'm going to practice gratitude and I'm just going to, live for them. And I started listening to podcasts. I started listening to these people, these influencers and stuff. And everything always goes back to ancient history. So as I started studying them and what they're learning and where it's coming from, I started Googling things and it would always pop up a Stoicism article or whatnot. A Stoic or a philosopher had said something similar to that before. And then I realized that everything that they actually were learning was from Stoics. And so when I got into that, I started researching, like trying to find a Stoic that I could follow, and I started liking a lot from Genghis Khan. He was pretty cool. He was in charge of the Mongolian army. Did a bunch of crazy war stuff.
Conquered the world for in his time period.
Yeah.
Introduced fire maneuver, cavalry, horseback archers. Like, really, you look at Russia, like that was part of the Mongol territories too.
Right.
Like, they had a bunch of stuff.
They had a lot of cool stuff, man. And if you look at the history, it's crazy how they developed over time and what they had with like nothing. They dealt with so much with nothing. Just even the idea of like generating like armies of that size, and then somehow overpowering people with no telephones.
I could see you as a Mongol. I could see you as a Mongol. Yeah, you would just switch the motorcycle for a horse, and you'd be out there. That would be you, Colt. That would be your warrior path.
Yeah. Yeah. I just I think I was bred into like war just from the beginning.
I got you.
Just my lifestyle, my family upbringing. It was all like, militant. And it's crazy because my whole life was focused on the action of doing, and then like kind of forgetting about empathy and feelings and things like that. And I think in like wartime, that's a good thing, but for the longevity of life, to grow and have good relationships, and have a more fulfilled life, I think in general, you have to be able to understand people, and every human isn't like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Only 1% of the community is a former veteran or military person. It's only 1%. So if you take that 1% of the people that are stereotyped as militant or whatnot, it's not very many people. So 99% of the other population is empathetic. They don't understand loss, or
it doesn't seem very balanced.
It's not very balanced. Yeah. And not that people haven't accepted loss or have accepted loss or had trauma in their life and things like that. Cause there is firemen and, law enforcement and things like that. And they see this stuff on occasion. But I think for military people, it's just a little bit different because it's not, a hit or miss. It's not over like a 15, 20-year career where you see like a few incidences. It's like you go to war, you see it over and over again. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you've both been overseas.
Yeah, we both have combat deployments.
Right, we have combat deployments and things like that. I didn't see as much as you'd probably think that we actually saw, and maybe it's just not a lot to me compared to like what other people might think that we should have seen. Our job at the time when we were in Iraq was just controlling like a territory, just providing a presence. So getting back to it. Yeah, I think, like people like, Genghis Khan, Shin Tzu, and then the guy that it really excites me a lot and I really like a lot of his stuff. I always screw up his name when I say it, but it's Epictetus.
Yeah, now we're getting into the Stoics. Epictetus.
Yeah, and the reason why I like Epictetus is because it's like, you really can't go wrong. Anything you read from him is like, it's just freaking so perfect. It's just perfectly said the way that he says it. I wanted to start going into things that I think we could utilize today. Things like happiness, forgiveness. We wanted to get you guys a few good things from this philosopher in general, because we're going to talk about him today, that actually helped us. I think that we'll just start off with happiness and forgiveness because those were the two top that me and Eric both agreed that were pretty good topics to discuss. Let's go into happiness, bro.
All right. So,
and what Epictetus talks about happiness and what it actually means, the philosophy behind it, his philosophy behind it. And guys, just to start, this isn't just your generic, what is happiness? It's to be happy, right? It's not, we're going to break it down in detail on like exactly what it means to be happy and what it means to understand happiness in the form of Stoicism.
Yeah. So from Epictetus, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. So when you break that down, that's almost like saying like, get into the present. Don't think outside of your current situation. You know, we talked before about how like living in the future creates anxiety.
Correct.
You know, he's saying, stop worrying about all that and focus on the things that are within your power to control.
Right. So don't focus. So what you're saying, brother, is don't focus on things outside of your control, like things that you have no control over, like, for example, other people's vision of things or how they're going to play out on things,
How they
or
perceive you, what they say about
what they
you.
Oh, okay.
You know, like he's not swayed. He's a rock, and whatever people say about him or do to him doesn't matter.
Doesn't affect his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But why is he saying that? Is he actually saying that it doesn't affect him? I don't think so, right? Because obviously he's a human being.
I think he trained himself.
I'm just being the devil's advocate here, right? Because there's people that are probably saying, "Oh, that's so simple to say. Like, don't let people affect you."
Yeah,
right?
that's almost like telling somebody like sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Like
Right.
words can hurt you,
right?
You know, like so. Epictetus, he was a slave, and his first years of his life, he was treated as a slave. Came up in a slave. His master abused him, and you know, Roman slaves, like they had no rights. What can he do? He just had to endure. He had to create almost like an outer shell that could just take the abuse, physical, mental, emotional. And once you make that shell, you could step back and like witness it, you know, but not be attached to it. You know, let it pass over you, let it go through you. And when it comes to happiness, he said, like, there's only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power or our will. You know, so many things out there in the world that we have no control over, you know, and if you spend all your time dwelling on things going on in politics, things going on with your neighbor, things going on like, and you know, even the weather is beyond your control. Like we live in Southern California. It's been so hot lately, you know, like we can't affect that. We have no control over that. It's something that we just have to endure. And you could choose to endure in silence or complain about it. But complaining doesn't do anything. You're just like wasting your energy, giving it away, putting a negative vibration out there. You know, Stoicism is, I think I got my first taste of it like in the military. You know,
what about talking about it? Let's be the devil's advocate here, right? What about talking about it? What about people that are like, man, I just want to talk about how shitty the weather's been because it sucks. I can't go outside because it's raining.
Yeah.
What about like, because we all know that like talking about your feelings and your problems makes you feel better. That's what counseling's for.
Getting it out makes it feel better, right? Releasing it.
Right.
You know, sometimes when you hold on to something, and hold on to that weight for a long time.
Yeah.
You know.
So basically, and a lot of these Stoics, they always talk about like, don't hold on to things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all talk about it. Like, it's too hard on your soul. Don't hold on to things like grudges. Don't hold on to things like, just get over it. Like, talk about it. Like something that's just hurting you deeply. Like someone hurt you back in the past and, you know, you just want to do them wrong. It's like, nah, just let it go.
For that,
wish them well, let it go. Only because all the grudge is going to do is it's going to hold you down. Almost think of it as like a poison. And I read an article through, I think it was actually Epictetus. He was talking about how the weight of a feeling of a grudge or the weight of a feeling of non-forgiveness is not only bad that you're not willing to forgive them, it's that you're not willing to forgive yourself. Like, the crazy part is like forgiving yourself is probably more important than forgiving the other person.
Yeah.
And I think people lose track of that because, yeah, I'm going to forgive you for doing wrong to me. That's a huge step. Mm-hmm. But people always forget that it's not what others do unto you. It's not what others do. It's not what you do unto others. It's what others do unto you. You need to forgive yourself, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. I probably said that all screwed up. But I'll look up the actual quote.
Message hits. I get you, you know?
Right. You have to forgive yourself because if you can't forgive yourself, then you can't move on with yourself.
And you're always going to be quick to think negative about that person. That's the last emotional
right.
Like, and connection.
Yeah.
I hate this guy. Hate this girl.
And you might be saying to yourself, like, all right, well, why? What do you mean by forgive myself? Like they did unto me, right? But I'm not going to do unto them.
They wronged me.
Right. You got to forgive yourself of like what they did to you, right? So you're going to be like, hey, Eric, I forgive you for what you did to me. You're going to say that to Eric so that he knows it's over. I forgive you. I have no ill towards you. I'm done. But then you're going to come back to yourself, and for you thinking that he did unto you something wrong, right? You're just going to forgive him because you should have never held that grudge in the first place. So you need to forgive yourself. Like, hey, it's okay. I know you feel bad about that, but let's let it go.
Epictetus has a quote about that. Let me hit you with it.
Oh, I want to hear this.
He says, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. If he can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. So like,
dang, that's huge. Any person that can anger you becomes your master.
Anybody that can control your emotions, dude, you're the puppet. You know, you're just like at their mercy, you know?
So for all you angry guys out there and ladies, right? Because we got some people with some anger problems.
Is your skin so thin that you could be manipulated, controlled, you know, by somebody?
Almost like it's almost like when someone gets to the point of where they can anger you, it's like they're almost smarter than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they overpower your brain because now they have the control over you, which becomes their master. You become their master.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand. I actually never heard that one, man.
Yeah, and you know, Colt, I've been mad at people before. You know what I'm saying? And like have held resentment and refused to let it go. They really did control me. You know what I'm saying? Like
they did.
Yeah, it did. And then you feel stupid about it and you feel angry about it. You know, it's like when you get just caught, you know, like what can I do? Like, oh, they do control me. To release that, to let it go. You know, we talked about forgiveness. Like sometimes you don't even have to like let that person know you forgive them. You know what I'm saying? There doesn't need to be a text. You just, I forgive you. And I move on.
Internal.
I let it go.
I like the internal part.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, it's very difficult for them to like verbalize something.
Also, too.
But I think as long as you know,
mm-hmm.
that's all that really matters.
You know,
can I go back to anger before you step off? Because I don't want to lose track of this. I used to be so freaking angry, bro. Like probably the most angriest person you could ever imagine.
Really?
Just hated. I would just had so much hate in my heart. Mm-hmm. And that's why I constantly was trying to destroy myself. You know, I've talked about
sabotaging.
I've talked about, you know, going in the Marine Corps, living in an abusive household, you know, to, you know, getting into gang life, to getting out of the Marine Corps, to getting into motorcycle clubs, you know, big biker clubs, 1%er clubs, trying to just figure out my way, my path to brotherhood or family, or trying to figure out myself.
Mm-hmm,
but I was just so angry. And I think when you get to that point of anger, you just want to hurt people, or you want people to hurt you. And for me, I think it was more or less, I didn't really want to hurt anybody. I wanted people to hurt me. Because I just felt like I was just needing to be like setting this whole like tone of pain for the rest of my life. I was used to the abuse. I could take it. That's why I built for battle tattooed on me, you know? Anyways, to get back to the anger part, anger is the lowest form of self. It's one of the lowest forms. Now what I do when I feel anger is I look at myself as almost like a puzzle. Like I'm puzzled. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to figure me out. Mm-hmm. Why is it that you're angry? That's what I do now. So if I start feeling that feeling of anger, I just stop and I like almost like take my outer body experience and I like come in front of my face.
Yeah, you take a step back.
And I try to like separate myself from my physical presence, and I try to think of myself as like a spiritual self, and I'm like looking at myself and I just go, hey, like what, like what's going on with you, bro? Like what's going on with you? Is that person that's saying this of your stature? Are they at where you're at? Is what they're saying relative? Are you really making mistakes? Are you really not being a good person? You know, like all those things stacked up against each other, you know, like, okay, yeah, I'm being a good person. Yeah, I'm doing what's right. Yeah, they might be hurt about something. Maybe I should just wish them well. And then it fades, you know? And it's just like a lot of the stuff that like Epictetus is talking about. Anyways, continue. I just wanted to touch on that before I forgot.
Let's see.
So that was on happiness, right?
Mm-hmm. Another good one is, and a little one, no man is free who is not a master of himself. So
Okay.
you touched on, you feel yourself getting upset, like to be able to step out of that, like you know yourself. No.
What do you mean by that? What do you
Kind of like
what are you
you
talking
you said like you've had anger in your heart, right?
Right.
And like now you're able to feel that coming, and like a 3D image, you just hop out of your body and like, what's going on with me? Why am I upset? You have to like know yourself, know your true authentic self, know what your triggers are, know what your vices are, know your ups and know your downs.
I was Googling what is anger.
Okay, what does anger
I
say?
just wanted to see the actual definition. An emotional response to a person or situation that you feel has treated you unfairly. So there's causes. Let's just break it down. Anger can be caused by various things, including feeling threatened, powerless, or having a history of trauma or abuse. Psychological changes. Anger can cause your heart rate, blood pressure to increase, as well as your levels of adrenaline and noradrenaline. Expression. Anger can express in many ways, including shouting, yelling, swearing, or subtly through brooding or withdrawal, whatever that means. When it's a problem, anger can become a problem if it's very intense, very frequent, or can be managed out of control. What is helpful? Anger can be helpful in some situations, such as motivating you to make positive changes or take constructive action. Learn to manage anger, learn how to recognize, express, or manage anger can make a big difference to your mental health. So going back to like boundaries, right? We need to have boundaries with people. I think also looking at people from a different light. So what I do now is to control me being unhappy or angry at something. I always look at like the person that I'm talking to. And this, honestly, guys, for you angry people out there, this is what's helped me the most. Know that when someone's coming at you with something, think of it like this. Are you doing the best that you can? Are you becoming the person that you'd most admire? Are you working on that person? Did you treat that person fairly? Right? Did you take in consideration their feelings? Right? And then also, who is the person that's talking to you? Because anyone that's ever outsourced me or out like statused me in my eyes, and like I tend to look at people like if someone's going to construct me on business and talk to me about business and they don't own a business, and you're like, first
what are you talking about? Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Whatever you're saying has no relevance. So immediately like that just pushes them a little bit farther back. And then my anger seems to subdue. So if someone tries to judge me saying, like, oh, you're doing this and that and your business sucks or whatever. I don't know. Let's just say someone comes out of the woodworks and says something nasty. Okay, cool. That's great. I hear what you're saying, but I'm looking at them. You don't even own a business. Who are you? First. Second, if I start getting angry, first of all, it's probably because I'm insecure about something. And I'm also going to think, am I doing the best that I can?
Is there something they said that's kind of true? Is there anything in there?
There you go. Is it kind of true? You know what? Right. And that's where self-criticism comes into place. Because what people say can help improve you. Like, for example, if you're overweight and you're fat and you hate the way that you feel every day, okay, and you know that inside, but you have trouble changing, but everyone says every day that you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. Eventually, something's going to snap. And you might use anger as a form to help you. So if you channel it in the right way, it can get you to where you're like, you know what? I'm so pissed off that I'm going to change. They keep saying this about me. I'm going to make myself better. Like that's where you could use it in the positive, right? And I think you can use anger in the positive. That's where I'm getting with this. Those are all other forms that can help you think more clearly. So when someone's coming at me, I always think, they're hurt, because anyone that's like successful isn't going to have time to like bring you down. First of all, just so you know
that Colt, I don't know who said that. We say it all the time, but that's a principle, man. Like I believe that so much. Like,
that helps me with anger. Well, feeling angry is like always looking at the individual. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Is this a hurt individual? And then I just honestly, I feel bad for them. I go from feeling angry to instantly just going, Colt, whatever they're saying, they're hurting, bro. So turn off the switch of anger and feel sorry for them. Feel sorry for them. Because what are you going to do? You have it all. You're going to bring them down even lower? They're at rock bottom. They're at the point of maybe doing something to another level that they don't want to do. Could be either quit their job, hurt themselves, hurt others, tear someone down with them. Like you got to know that they're struggling right now.
They're at their bottom. They're rock bottom.
So I literally instantly go into help mode. Okay, you're coming at me. I don't owe you anything. I don't know why you're doing this to me. I want to feel upset, but I instantly know that you're hurting inside. I go to hurting, and that's what helps me. I go, no, they're hurting.
Yeah.
And then I instantly go into like help mode. Like, okay, why are you feeling this way? Like, what is it? I'm trying to go back, and I tell them, I verbally communicate. Like, I've done this for you. I've done this for you. I've never treated you unfairly. I've always been upfront with you and honest. I'm trying to figure out why you're so upset at me right now, because I care for you. I really want the best for you. And that usually brings them down a notch. And sometimes it's just enough of a notch to where they feel guilt.
They recognize they were being crazy.
Humans change through guilt. They change their behavior patterns. They change their habits through guilt. When someone feels guilty, they want to make you feel better. That's a normal human response. If I did something wrong to you or hurt you, I would instantly feel guilty. God forbid, like we were rolling, and you dominate me. But let's just say one day I hurt you somehow. I twisted your ankle.
An accident happens. Boom.
Yeah, an accident. I would feel guilty and say, oh my God, that's my friend. But I hurt you. So I would instantly feel remorseful.
Yes, sir.
And guilt. And I want to make you feel better. So I'd be like, brother, can I get you ice? What can I do? Right? So what I'm trying to get at is when someone's projecting their anger onto you, that's how they typically feel inside. So you have to realize that that's internal, and that's usually coming from a place of hurt, shame, insecurity, something. You're doing something to them, or what you're doing is doing something to them. And that could even just be being successful. I know even lately, I've had some issues where I've been dealing with, people that just feel a little, I wouldn't say taken by me, but they're it's almost like they want to do what I'm doing, maybe in a sense, and not even just podcast wise, but just trying to just be better. And they don't know how to do it themselves, or they can't get the energy to do it. So instead of getting the energy, they'd rather just speak and just say things that are projecting how they truly feel inside. And I've decided that I've taken on so much of that over the years that I would rather keep doing what I'm doing to help them, and hopefully them seeing my change would eventually help them to change. Because I posted something a little while ago, and I basically was saying, I always say it's not about me, it's about them, right? And I have to look it up. You could say something before then. I gotta look this
Alex Hormozy has something, and it's to grow so big that people like that are just they can't get to you. They don't affect you. You're always going to have those.
Your weakness is their way out. So if I become weak,
you let them escape. You let them out.
Right. If I become weak and I give up,
you let them win with their behavior.
No, not yeah. Correct. That's one way of looking at it. The way that I look at it is I'm if I know internally you're hurting and you hate the crap out of me for whatever it is, and I'm profound in jiu-jitsu, and let's just say you're basically starting and you hate that I'm moving so fast, and I'm advancing in the belts, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to help you be better. I'm going to keep coming back. Even though I know you hate me, I'm going to help you be better. I'm just going to keep coming back until you start getting up to the point where you're with me and we're equals, right? But if I quit doing what I'm doing and advancing, and I quit trying to help, then that's your way out. Then you have a way out of destroying yourself. And an ultimate person that wants the best for other people, because they know that's a part of self-healing, is to want the best for others, knows that you can't let other people fail. You can't. My weakness in giving up, if I go weak and I say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to do burpees anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do it because people are talking shit about what I'm wearing or wear short shorts or whatever, you know?
The shirt you wear with the button.
Yeah, or whatever. I missed one day, you know, I'm going to hate on you, whatever. If I stop doing what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
and I just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not doing this shit anymore. People are going to suffer from that because there's people that are suffering in silence right now. And it is my duty. And I've decided that I'm the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the gift. I am the person that is more than a human being. I'm a sacrifice.
Epictetus would say you are a little soul carrying around a corpse. You know, you're not flesh and blood. Like, you're more than that. This podcast is not a physical. Like, we're in the frequency now.
Oh, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it's like a job. I think this is like a
Lifestyle. This is who we are. This is
a lifestyle because it's consistent, but we've included it in our lifestyle. It's born here. It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It has to go on, no matter what. Like, even if we're like in a garage somewhere, like, this has to continue.
Epictetus would say, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You know? Don't tell people to do burpees, you do burpees. And they see it.
So that's the same thing that happened with the moving company.
How so? Tell me.
I've never been one to like be a follower.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be a leader. Everything. Even in the Marine Corps, I was like, okay, how do I take charge of this? How do I do this? Blah, blah. Because it made me feel better to lead. But I wanted to do the same job. I just wanted to be the guy that like everyone relied on because it made me feel like a sense of purpose. And it also made me feel a sense of belonging, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know. I lost my train of thought for a second.
No, that's all good. Well, it's just kind of like why you do the things you do. You know, like you're
yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
In a weird way, Colt. Sometimes like I do a thing where like, oh, like, am I a fake? You know, like, no, of course I'm not. But I even have that little doubt. You know what I'm saying? Am I a fake black belt? No, of course not. But that's something that comes in my mind every once in a while. You know, I'm a world champion. I've made black belts. I'm an elite. I'm world class.
That's why the tasks matter. That's why the tasks matter. Everything
they give you confidence. Like, you know, it helps. When you did the burpees, like, it helped change your mindset, physically pumped your blood.
We just did it before this podcast. We just did a set of burpees before, but why? What is it about burpees?
To raise the vibration.
It's a vibration change.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't do them, that's my way out. So when I feel low vibration and I can't think clearly, I do a set. And then my vibration raises. And then I get to that level to where I can control my thoughts better. And when I can control my thoughts better, my day goes better. Mm-hmm. And if I need it again, I need it again. It's almost like an injection. You know, it's like it's
a medicine, you know?
Right. But it's a clean medicine. It's a clean way out.
Some people do cold water. Some people do a meditation. You know, I like to work out, you know?
Yeah. I just know that like consistency is key. And if you dedicate, and this is why I tell everybody, you know, and like I talk to people hand in hand that just need help of all walks of life. People at the worst part of their life, people that want to take their life, people that want to give more in life, people that just want to support women and both men. And I've kind of gotten to a place to where it seems like people all want the best for each other, even people that are in their worst. But like sometimes people just don't give themselves enough credit. I think they don't give themselves enough credit for what they've already done. You know, and it's even like us. Like these are hard times right now. Everyone's struggling. You know, our revenues dropped 3 times in the last 3 years. You know, but expenses keep growing. You know, but then, you know, the level of the job keeps growing and people are expecting more, you know, and it's just, these are weird times and everyone's feeling it right now. But I've never once said like, oh, you're making less revenue, so you suck, you're a failure. It's like, no, not at all. Like, I'm making less revenue. I'm making less of a salary because the world's changing. But at the same time, I'm doing the same program I've been doing for 15 years.
The outside world has changed, but like you have not. You're still on the grind.
Correct. Yeah. And I also tell myself, like, Colt, you've done a good job, brother. You've done a good job. You've carried it. You're still doing the same thing. You're doing twice as much now to make the same amount of money, and you're still working it. You haven't given up. You should be proud of yourself. And I think sometimes you just got to step back. And that's what a lot of these Stoics talk about is being okay with yourself, just being okay, focusing on yourself. Going into like another thing, I think clear thinking is extremely important. Leading off of happiness, I think that if you got to be able to get into a state of like clear thinking, that's something that Stoics talk about a lot. Trying to find a way to get to a point to where you can think without having interruptions, because a lot of our minds are clogged and cloudy.
A lot of distractions that we
even
surround ourselves with.
Even like former military vets, like we got all kinds of stuff we're thinking about. We're thinking about crazy things, you could go between anger and hurting this person or not, or, running away, or, it's just all over the place. But if you want to get into like a clear mind, and I think the mind is more important than the body. If you have a clean and clear and healthy mind, I think that you're sick less. I think that you have thoughts of negative impact on yourself a lot less. I think that you care more about life and less about, making money or, because like, I don't think about money anymore.
Money comes, money goes.
It just comes. And I believe that money is an attraction to the individual that you are. I think that money is one of those things that comes to you when you're least expecting it. I think it's also one of those things that comes to you when you genuinely care about people and you can think clear enough to understand that. I think when people are just online all day posting about their business and you can tell it's not coming from the heart, I think people read that. And I think people see that. If you're asking for money because you just need it, you just want it instead of like need it, you know what I'm saying? And I think people resonate with that. I think that like for me, as long as I keep on my schedule and I keep doing the things that I've committed to for myself, and I don't give up on all of you, and I keep, because I'll be here every day doing the same exact thing. Okay, no matter what, even if I lose it all, I've said that before. I'm going to keep doing the same thing that I'm doing, and I think that's what holds me structurally sound in life. I accept what I've done in the past. I accept the person I used to be, and I've forgiven that person. I've forgiven that person that was so hurt, and that person that never focused on emotions, and that person that was war-torn and trauma-torn and, abused, neglected, and all these other things that a lot of us receive. And I've decided to, kill off that person. That person doesn't exist anymore.
It's Colt 2.0.
Colt 2.0.
3.0 or something now, right? Like it's getting up there.
But you're not going to have that unless you have clear thinking, right? Another thing, living in the present. We've kind of talked about that a little bit, but you got to be able to live in the present moment, period. If you're always living in the past, you're always going to be thinking about the past and you can't move forward. You can't. So a lot of these Stoics talk about living in the present. There's a couple things Epictetus talks about the present. He talks about the present as more of like a, it's like a state of mind, more or less. It all depends on, I'm trying to pull up the thing right now.
He has one right here. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems.
Got it. So basically there is no problem. Or could not be could not be a problem.
You gotta think for the problem. Right now we're right here. What's the next problem? I'm going to be hungry in a little bit. I'm not hungry right now, but I'm going to be hungry in a little bit. I just created a problem. I just created anxiety. Don't
worry about the problem unless it's there. Don't worry about it twice.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine told me that.
Don't worry about it twice?
Yeah, don't worry about the problem twice. So if you're like, oh man, what about this in the future? It's like, okay, well, wait for that to happen then. You get what I'm saying?
Don't get locked in place thinking about it.
Right. Don't sit here going, oh, well, what if I lose my job in 3 months? It's like, but that hasn't happened yet. Well, but my boss talked to me yesterday and I'm worried that I could lose it. Have you lost it? No, I haven't. It's like, well, why are you worrying about it? Well, because it could happen. It's like, well, we could do shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but you're going to worry about that for 3 months.
You're going to spend your energy, your mind power,
and that's what kills people.
Your clear thinking on that.
And that's what kills people. Stress. So worry about the problem when it comes. know that we can only do what we can to control what's in our power, right? And also put it on God. That's what I do. Put it on him and say, hey, you're in charge. Whatever you want to happen will happen, but I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best employee, the best person I can, so that I know that if I lost everything, I know that I tried the best that I could have. And you guys all know if you're trying or not. You guys all know. Dealing with adversity. I like this one. Stoics believe that eternal shift in fortune should not undermine your frame of mind. So if you have a problem, I think that we all should know that it should never change your daily habits. Okay. Wes Watson's huge on that. You know that, right? He talks about it. I'll be here every day. You know, he talks about all these other things, which I've taken a huge interest in, making myself more adverse, taking on adversities, taking on challenges, maybe even challenges I don't think I can hit or like, you know, but like, I'm okay with like not making it through. I'm going to try my hardest though, and I'm going to learn, because I think adversity humbles us, you know, being in a challenging time and then like having a friend help you or coming through a time and then being like, man, I can't believe I made it through that.
Yeah. It's been that I've had experienced that quite a bit. And you know, sometimes if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you still pull it off, like then you become very proud of yourself, you know? And that's like stuff that like, it goes to your character, your true self. Like you can do it, you know. You just gotta believe, gotta fight that good fight every day. Some days are harder than others for sure, but like you say, like get up, follow your habits, your positive habits. Those will lead you to success.
I like that. Know? Last but not least, guys, focusing on yourself. I want to drill on this one for a minute. So a lot of you people out there want to focus on what other people are doing. And this person's living their life. This person's doing this and blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you something. You're not inside of anybody else's brain. You're inside your brain. No matter what they're doing, no matter what they're saying, you don't know how happy they are inside. You don't know that. They'll tell you they're happy. They'll tell you they're making millions of dollars. They're driving a Lambo and blah, blah, blah. But they might be struggling. And I'm pretty sure most people are around.
Everybody is, dude. Everybody's got something. We all hide it better than some people hide it better than others. You know, find somebody with the perfect life.
You got to focus on how you think about things, how you perceive things. How are you judging people? Are you judging people? Are you like worry about yourself? I tell my kids this all the time.
Mind your own business.
Mind your own business. Well, what about what Hunter's doing? What about what don't worry about
this
that.
This person said this about me.
Worry about you. Worry about you. Because you can't control what other people are doing. It's a waste of your time. All you can worry about is what you're doing and what you're doing with your time. You can't worry about what anyone else is doing.
And that's what
it's going to drive you freaking nuts.
That's what you should be focused on. That is what, you know, you should be harsh with yourself on things that you need to improve on, and be gentle with the world.
That's pretty much it, guys. I think in closing, we got to understand that if you need help, don't ask other people for help. Look up the information from the past. History repeats itself. I think I've learned more by reading and learning about Stoicism and finding personality traits and people that I like from the past. I've taken a really huge direction towards Greek philosophy. And it's definitely helped my mind absorb a lot of good information that actually still works in today's age. Emotions haven't changed. Modern day has changed. The way we see things and perceive things have changed. But these people have some really good information. And I think if you go back to focusing on that, you'll have a more clear mindset. Look up Epictetus, Genghis Khan, Shin Tzu, Marcus Aurelius is phenomenal. All these people have really good ways of thinking. And it's good to like observe them all. And then take bits and pieces of what you want. And that kind of develops your character.
Your philosophy.
Your philosophy, yeah, on life and how you see and perceive things. This is going to help you lead a more healthier and cleaner life by having a more cleaner and more an observant brain where you can observe things, you could take it in. You don't necessarily need to keep the information, but you can keep and take bits and pieces of what you want. You could build your character off of that. You could change your person by that. Build the person and the character that you'd most admire in an individual. So the person that I look up to, I'm trying to create. I don't see him yet. I see him. I know what I would emulate if I were
trying
him.
to understand what you mean by that.
Yeah. Oh, you really?
Yeah,
okay.
Because there's like, okay, you're happy, but like, there's also other things that I'd like to become.
Yeah.
You know, how am I doing that? Am I on the steps to do that? When I'm walking the path to being that person, I feel good. When I'm not, I know I should be on that path.
Let me ask you something. Where are you at on a numbers grid? Let's say 1 out of 10 of the person that you ultimately want to be.
Oh, man, I'm like a 7.
Okay.
You know, like,
yeah, I feel like I'm at like a 7.5.
Mm-hmm. I've done some cool stuff. You know, I'm not sliding backwards. I'm not. I'm
probably even closer to like an 8. And the reason why I say that is because over the last year, like a lot's changed for me. I know for a fact, like I want to, erase some tattoos. I need to be about 5 to 7% fitter, a little more bold, like just some things I want to evolve around my life. So my presence, I see myself as the man I think I should be. Those are changes. These are within my control. Mental state, I got about 20% more to go. I feel like my fluidity, like in my communication, could be just a touch better. My education, I'd like it to be another 3 to 5 years from now. Faster, learning, because I'm constantly learning, and the way that I speak is way better than it was 10 years ago. More confident, more direct, more educated, more inviting.
That's cool. It's good. It's beautiful.
And then, last but not least, like actions. Like I still portray some actions that I'm working on controlling. Mm-hmm. Anger was a huge part of my life, and I got about 10% of that left. And I'm not out of the woodworks yet. I still work on that. And I have ways of getting around that, but it's definitely not the level it used to be. I think last but not least, my personal relationship with God, just publicizing it more and being more humble about it is more important to me and than it ever has been. And I'm working on exploring more of that side. And it's taken me a lot of letting go of my own history that used to have to do with, trauma and hurt and hate to just kind of let that person go and start focusing on more of a better relationship with him. Because, I've told you guys, self-healing is going to be a work in progress forever, and I may never get to a 10. I may never, and I might, be like a few short lengths about, right behind him when I get to the kingdom of heaven. And I'm like, man, I almost got you, bro. But I was right there. I was on your butt, dude. I was right there. You know what I mean? But at least I can see him. And I feel like right now I can see him in the distance. I can see that dude. We're on a run right now. And we're running through the gauntlet, through the clouds, hitting heaven's gates. And we see it. We're coming around the corner. And I could see the little dot. I'm like, he's right there, dude. Like I couldn't even see him before. I didn't even see him in the clouds yet, and now I see him. I see the dot. You ever seen that, when you're catching a friend on the freeway heading to Vegas or something?
Yeah, for sure.
And you're trying to catch him.
You're on that PFT.
And finally,
run.
You see him on the GPS or you see him in front of you, like way down the hill. And you're like, dude, we would hustle, just like a challenge, It's like a challenge, So that's what I feel like as I'm on this challenge. And yeah, I'm only 41 right now, but eventually I'll be 51, 61, 71. And I'm going to get as close as I can to that 10, the best person I could have always been for myself. And I think that I don't ever think I'll reach a 10. I'm going to shoot for a 10. But if I reach like a 9.5, I think I'll be pretty happy with myself, that I made it that far. And I think a 9.5 version of Colt is a complete game changer for everybody in my life.
Let's go, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. You owe it to everybody.
I'm motivated to see all of you guys in that game change. But you guys got to remember that to reach the person that you'd most want to be in your life, the person that you'd idolize and look up to, you got to kill off the old individual. Okay. And for some people, that's big steps like taking direction like I did. Some people it's getting baptized. Some people need just a complete change in their life, or they just need to hit rock bottom and get to the point of where I hit, where you almost want to take your own life.
Some people need to join my jiu-jitsu school.
Or jiu-jitsu.
We'll get you to the next level, guaranteed. 100% money back, guaranteed.
Pitch it, bro. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our podcast on Stoicism. We're going to talk about this another time. We're going to kind of punch into a couple other people. We're going to start talking about maybe Marcus Aurelius next, and then maybe get into some Shen Shu. Is that how I say it? Shen Tzu?
I think
Shen
so,
Tzu.
yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe a little bit of Genghis Khan.
Let's go.
And we'll talk to you guys about, how war has a lot to do with individual life. Because I think being a Marine Corps vet, like both of us are, I think that comes into personal life a lot, and how to deal with war on both sides.
Warrior kings.
Yeah, because the best, what was it? The best wars are fought without exchanging a bullet, or what is that first?
Hey, I don't know, but that's good.
Yeah. The best wars are fought without exchanging a bullet. Basically, like it's just all about respecting each other's ability to hurt each other, but at the same time, understanding that that's not what either of you want, and you guys also want peace. And at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants, guys. And end of the podcast, we are start studying Stoicism. Look up Epictetus, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. If you guys are listening to this, whether you're at the gym, whether you're walking your dog, whether you're getting ready to go to bed, a little shout out from 45 on the Hour podcast will make your day that much more better. Guys, we are out, and as always, get up, get after it, and get some.